What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. Just getting the camera set up. Um, but what's up? Um, Doing the pre-lift live. If you're watching after the live, gonna have to fast forward a little bit. Um, but yeah, it should be good. Let me know if there's anything you guys want to talk about. Um, I wasn't able to make it to Massachusetts yesterday, but I do know Jerry was on the table. He was on the table. Um, what's up, Josh? What's up, man? Um, what's going on, man? Um, but yeah, I wasn't there, but Jerry was at practice. Fitzy sent me a picture. Um, but he looked pretty good, and he looked pretty big. He looked pretty jacked. Because I haven't seen him. I actually have not pulled with him for this prep. Um, I only saw him one time and since the Levon prep, and that was at Mass States, and he pulled James Clark and Andre. Um, Josh says, "Damn, Jerry showed up." It's definitely true. It's definitely true to say. Um, let's see. So, Josh, I didn't get it. I didn't message Latimer yet. I'm gonna shoot him a message today. Um, Maybe I can make it down Sunday. If not, I'm gonna try next Sunday. Or if you guys are having practice. Um, but yeah, should know in the next couple days. But it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Um, Today's training is gonna be some back and some drag work. Back pressure. Um, I think one more thing, but I can't remember. I'll have to check the book. Um, Also, too, there's going to be a recovery lift, open gym today, later on. If anyone wants to get some recovery in, time's not locked in, but it's probably looking at like maybe 5 p.m., 6 p.m. possibly. Also, too, if it lines up, we're gonna have Andrew, the Macho Man, on the live later. We're gonna do a little interview with Andrew, the Macho Man. I'm terrible with, I want to say it's a Polish last name, but I'm terrible with Polish names. The Andrew Mirski, but I call him Andrew Macho, the Macho Man. But yeah, so if it lines up, we'll hop on later. Uh, we'll tell you some of his experiences with the Dungeon Super Series, the pay-per-view, what's next for him. He trains with Paul Lynn, you know what I mean? So maybe he knows some interesting stories, you know. Um, Josh says, was that the guy who dressed as Macho Man, Randy Savage, at Keystones? It definitely is. That's definitely him. His name is Andrew. He's a good guy. Um, um, but yeah, that's the guy. That's him. Um, yeah, if it lines up, it'll be good good live interview tonight. Not sure on time, but it will be after 6 p.m. Um, but yeah, Josh says I made a video on that tournament. He was my intro. LO, funny dude. Yeah, yeah, he's definitely funny. He's definitely great with the camera. You know, the camera loves him. Um, but yeah, he puts on a good show. Plus, he's a great arm wrestler. You know, and he's only getting better. Um, you know, he's got a good team down there in Pennsylvania. I think his regular training partner is Paul Lynn. So he's got a good team down there, you know. And then I think from where he lives in Pennsylvania to Storms, I think it's like 4 hours or something. You know, it's weird how that works, but yeah, I think it's like a four. I think it's a pretty good drive to from his place in Pennsylvania to Storms in Pennsylvania, which is interesting because I go through two states. Well, let's see, I usually go through. I think it depends on which way I go. Sometimes I'm through two, sometimes I'm through three, depending on the traffic. But it takes me 2.5. Um, but what else? What else can we talk about? Um, Josh says you come across the top. That's why. I forgot what we were talking about. I mean, I forgot what we were talking about. Maybe. Oh, yeah. There we go. Storms. The storms. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. I mean, yeah, storms. He's not too far into Pennsylvania. He's probably like 20 minutes, 30 minutes in once you hit the Pennsylvania border. But yeah, just funny to think about. Um, hey, what's up, Brian? How you feeling today? You feeling the same, a little sore, a little better? Because that bully strap is interesting. Sometimes you feel real good, and then all of a sudden it sneaks up on you, and then vice versa. It's very interesting. I have an idea with the bully strap. It might not work. It might be weird. But put the bully strap on, and then Chief, how he has those springs. Now this might get tricky because we'll have to make sure the springs aren't flying off, so we'll have to use a good collar beaner or something. Um, but keep the bully strap the way it is, and then add a spring to the side of the table, so and tie it to the bully strap on the inside of the person's elbow. And I don't know how this would work, but in theory it should add more side pressure, especially towards the pin, because the spring will stretch. But it just popped in my head, so I'm curious if you guys can picture something like that. You'd also need to bolt that spring to the table, or at least chain it to the leg of an arm wrestling table or something. But that makes me think. I wonder if it's possible to add some side pressure to the bully strap. Let's see. Josh says we need one of those straps at Latimer's. I'm sure you guys could make one. It's not too. If you're doing if you could do the camera stuff and all the 3D printing stuff, I'm sure we could. I'll bring the one that we used. I'll bring it down, and you guys can just see what it is and copy it if you want. Maybe make some modifications or something. Let me know if you made some modifications, because I'm curious. So I do want to find a way to add some side pressure resistance with the bully strap. But know what I should do? I should bring the one Chief uses, because I think that one is extra painful for the wearer. The person wearing the bully strap. That's probably, there's two things. I mean, personally, I've never worn the bully strap. There's two things that definitely are negatives for the person wearing bully straps. One is the pain, because of the strap itself is just digging in, and then the other one is the risk of injury goes way up, because now you're it's like driving a car and all of a sudden you put in a giant sport car motor. You might, chances of you blowing something else in the car is way higher. So it's the same thing. Let's see. Brian says feeling fine. I'm surprised. Oh, good. That's good. That means the training's finally paying off. We're starting to get conditioned again. Whole bunch of stuff. Let's see. Josh says I am thinking more of a strap that has some give, like elasticity. Yeah, that could definitely work. That could definitely work. Something like that. I'm trying to think of a strap that has light elasticity, some type of material that will stretch and still be, not ripped and still be strong. Brian says getting out early, so I'll hit a lift later. All right. Yeah, shoot me a message to see what time, because I'm trying to get trying to get Andrew on to do an interview later. I might know around 1 p.m. an estimated time, or if it's even possible or not. But definitely, if shoot me a message if I miss the group chat. Shoot me a text too, because sometimes I I forget to check the group chat. Um, Josh says, I have an idea with a little light bulb at the end. That's what I'm talking about. It makes you wonder what that idea is. I'm very curious. But let me say this too, while it's fresh in my mind. Don't forget to get the pay-per-view. It's still up on this channel under the memberships. That's the only place to watch it now. Your first opportunity was live in person, but that was, months ago. And but now your second and last opportunity to watch the pay-per-view is on this channel, Stone TV, under memberships. We get 9 incredible matches. Josh says hashtag bang, definitely true. Bang, if you're watching, if we're looking for sponsors, it might be right up your alley, a little arm wrestling. People say, use that word a lot in the sport, Some people even use that as a catchphrase. So it could be good. And now that I remember it, I did forget to do the description. So thanks again for the friendly reminder, Josh. So I just remembered, I forgot. But I can go back and put them in there. I'm almost sure. Yesterday, we did a live member video, a live membership only video, and that was my medium. I call it my medium workout, so it's not super insane. It's still challenging, but it's not super insane. So I call it a medium workout. We did some bench press. We did some side pressure. We did some triceps. We did some internal rotation. So if you want to see one of my medium workouts, that's only a benefit for the members. I think I'm going to start doing more stuff like that, especially with the new, I'm not using it right now, but the new stabilizing tripod thing, the gyroscope stabilizer thing, that makes things a lot easier in terms of time. Usually, it doesn't take a lot of time, but if you do it multiple times, it adds up. Like just setting your camera up, making sure it's not going to fall or something. But with that thing, it makes it a lot easier. You know what I mean? It's got some controls on it, so I think I'm going to start doing those lives for the memberships, for the members. Depending on, let's see, what is my battery at right now? My battery, doing pretty good. I think I'm in the 60s. So depending on the battery, if I have enough battery, I'm gonna do another medium workout today. It's gonna be back drag work, back pressure, medium. So it's the reps were probably like 12 to 20, but still pretty good weight. I mean, nothing super crazy, but still pretty good weight. Josh says the 3-axis gimbal stabilizer. That's the one. That's the one. I don't know if it's just maybe the battery itself, but I noticed the battery. I mean, maybe I'm not charging. I think I'm charging it to full. All the lights are full. But the battery doesn't last that long. So maybe it's the cold. Maybe because it's just been sitting in the garage, so it just could be cold. Maybe that's all it is. But I mean, the battery lasts pretty good. It's probably like an hour, maybe hour or two, maybe. But I think during the live video yesterday, I think it died about halfway through or something. Something happened, but it still worked out good. We got it done. I got it charging right now, so it will be all charged up, ready. Um, just as it's a little older, that's all. You could probably use it and keep it plugged in. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll just plug it in. Um, that's an easy way to fix it. Um, but let's see. Um, what else? Anything else interesting happened in the arm wrestling world? Any new matches? Let's see. I was actually talking a little bit to Andrew last night about some matches on East versus West, and then also the GVW. They got some interesting matches on both of them. Um, one match I'm curious about is Frank Leporelli and what's his name? The guy with the super round sunglasses. He pulled Matt Mask and then Devin in the same day. Different arms, but Machashenko or something. I'm curious about that match. Um, Josh says if not, I'm sure I can find one for you. No, man. I definitely appreciate that, but I think if you gotta keep some of your stuff, otherwise you'll be out of camera gear. But no, I think that would definitely work. The charging thing, because I don't, I get the plugs and everything. I'll be able to charge it. Um, Dan says, "What's up, buddy? How how's your morning?" Oh, what's up, man? Thanks for watching. I'm doing good, man. Just getting ready for the pre-lift. Getting ready for the lift with the pre-lift live. So if you got any arm wrestling questions, Dan, or powerlifting questions, let me know. Anything you guys want to talk about? Like Brian says, how about Fitzy versus Sink for a match? That could be interesting. That could definitely be interesting. I definitely would like to see that match. Um, Very, very interesting. But who do you think, Brian? Who do you guys think? Fitzy or Sinks? Who wins that match? Brian says Kalina. Okay. That's his name. Pulling Frank. I think that's what you're talking about. Um, let's see. Brian says Fitzy had a match at the Mac 2. I just didn't send it to the chat. Yeah, he pulled Mike Hawks, and it was an interesting match, but not the outcome I was hoping for. But that's the way it goes sometimes. There were a lot of interesting outcomes on that card. In my mind, could have been a lot of upsets in my mind, but depending on who you ask, you know. So that's a good question. Josh says, "Have you pulled on a Mac table?" Um, just really, really quickly. Just messing around with it. Um, I haven't done too much. I just kind of pretty much just put my elbow down and kind of felt things out. Um, it's interesting. It's interesting. Um, I'm not really against it, but I'm also not really for it. I think it's just it's kind of like different field. I mean, some arm wrestlers before the regular pad, which is maybe the NFL football. Imagine like the NFL league, and then other people. It's arena football, something like that. Just different, same sport, different fields. Um, but what I am not a let's see. Um, what I don't like. There's a couple things I'm not a fan of with the rules. I definitely understand why they do them, but I'm just not a fan of them. When organizations don't call, what do they call them, microscopic fouls or small fouls or bobbles. I think all fouls should be called no matter what. But also too, I think running foul is all the way to go in terms of best of everything. Good for the athletes, good for the fans, and good for the referees. Um, I mean, I do like the regular pads. I think I like the regular pads better, the 7x7 or whatever. But it could just be because I practice with them more. Um, but yeah, let's see. Brian says Fitzy outside move might be really good against Bill. I don't know. Um, I think so too. I would think it would depend on. I think Bill's going to be more tighter probably. Fitzy's going to be more open, and I would think whoever has the superior pronation and whoever has the ability to battle out more side, I think is going to have a better. That could be a very interesting match. Right now, I would think it'd be like 3-2, maybe Fitzy. Maybe I mean, might be a little biased, because I practice with Fitzy and stuff, but I say 3-2 Fitzy if they have a match. But that's interesting. That camera guy Josh says, "Do you have an opinion on it?" So he's talking about the Mac tables. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, we talked a little bit. We just a little bit before. The table, I'm not against it, but I'm not for it. It just there's a couple of the rules I don't like. If a foul happens, if it's a foul, it's a foul. You know what I mean? I think once you start making, small bobbles, small fouls, not fouls, then things get very, very tricky. You know what I mean? Because now, you know, what's a small bobble? You know what I mean? Is it a quarter inch? Is it a half an inch? Is it, you know? But yeah, I think if the elbow leaves if the elbow leaves the pad, it's a foul. Um, Another rule that's tricky, that I think makes things tricky, is like I know. Well, I don't 100% know, but last time I talked to Ian, there's a rule with the start. You don't have to be square. Something about you could start with a little bit of a shoulder carve, which I don't know what time he was using. What time was using to refer. I can't remember. You know, stuff like that gets very tricky when you start using the clock to explain things. Like for example, in UFC, they use the clock to describe that illegal elbow. When they elbow down, you can't elbow down. Or I don't know if they changed it or not, but you used to not be able to elbow down like that karate elbow. You couldn't do that. But what happens if the athlete, when the athletes are go from standing to, on the ground? Now that clock, is it the same, or did the clock change with them? Because that changes the angle of you know, the clock or whatever. Um, so I think it could be the same thing. Like, what is, if they're instead of starting at neutral or 12 or whatever, they're starting at 3. What's the difference between 3 and 4? And you know what I mean, something like that. And foul this guy for being at 3. And I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think certain things should be, you know, certain like the starts should be, as even as possible. Like personally, I like, I think the shoulders should be square when they start, no matter what, unless like we have the, Turtle Man, we have the consent rule. The first thing they asked is, if both athletes agreed to, verbal agreement to the consent rule in the match, no matter, they could be anywhere, as long as their elbow was on the pad and their hand was on the peg. They could be anywhere as long as both people said yes. You know, so I'm not against the shoulder, starting early, but as long as both athletes are good with it. If not, you gotta make it a little more. Not so much strict, just straight. Maybe that's the right word, straight. When to start straight. Um, but yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. If I had to give my opinion on the Mac, the table, and everything, I think they're doing a lot of good. Just a few. If I was in control, there's a few things I would change. Brian says I like him. Practice pulled with Matt Morrison. A little on that one. Oh, very nice, very nice. Josh said I would like to at least try it. Yeah, man, definitely try it out. Definitely try it out. Um, 'Cause I was actually talking with Ian. Actually, it was Ian and the Global Elite, the other Global Elite, for a little bit. I can't tell you the matches because they asked me not to, but we were talking a little bit about potential, matches, but it just didn't go through. Um, Soapy says mass moves, mass simple, very definitely true. I think Brian says I think Bill's side pressure is better, but if Fitchy gets him way outside, it would be interesting to see. See, that's definitely interesting. I think they have different types of side pressure. I think Fitzy's side pressure is, he can do that open arm side pressure, but it's different, you know. If you get stretched out, it's going to be tricky. Um, but that is interesting. Like stuff like that makes a very interesting match. So maybe that could be a match for the next Dungeon Super Series, possibly in December. We'll try to pull it off. We're gonna try to pull it off. Let's see. Soapy says 12 to 6 is the elbow movement. Okay, yep, the 12 to 6. But the thing that makes it weird, or I think they had some confusion with the referees, is now, you know, when they're standing, it's 12, you know, 12 to 6 is this way. But once you go on the ground, is it still this way? Or is it, you know, is it like, you know, instead of being up and down, now it's vertical this way, you know? So I think stuff like that is tricky. I mean, I'm not against it. I just think it opens up another can of worms for you know, for fans to say, you know, this happened and or whatever. But yeah, I think all fouls should be called fouls. If both athletes say ready go, they pop at the same time, it's a foul, but coincidental. You know what I mean? So no foul. That's like the only time I think it should be like something like that, unless one athlete gains an advantage. But you know what I'm talking about when, you know, when they say don't move, go. Both athletes, you know, pop just a little bit. If both athletes pop, you know, it's a coincidental foul. Both athletes popped, live match. My opinion, if one athlete pops, live match, but that athlete has a running foul, as long as they didn't gain an advantage. You know, if they gain an advantage, that's when the match would stop. Um, it has to be a huge advantage. It has to be a very big advantage for the stoppage. Also, too, when the running fouls, the athlete that did not foul has a choice to try to win that match or let it go for a restart. The person that fouled has, I mean, they have choices, but if they get pinned, it's a loss, and they need to get a pin for a restart. So, you know, I like those rules because it rewards the athlete that did not foul. You know, I think with some of the rules now, with some federation, it rewards the athlete that foul. I feel like there's a lot of rewards out there for people that foul. You know, like a lot of get out of jail free cards, just, you know, waiting, you know, like warnings. Warnings, I don't think they should exist, especially in arm wrestling. You know, I've never even, I mean, besides like, you know, whatever, soccer or the stuff like that, or even football with the, you know, the warning cards. Other than that, I've never heard of it. Anything with like a, you know, any racing sport, if you false start, if you leave early, you lose. It's over. You lost. You left early. But in our sport, you can do it in some leagues, you know, 9 times before you get a foul, you know, or 3 times, but you can do it 9 times. And sometimes, you know, I've seen people, you know, do 9 false starts on, you know, I shouldn't say on purpose, but they were way early, because they knew they could do them, and they were just warnings. You know what I mean? Um, versus, you know, I feel like false starts should be just a foul. You know, if you leave early, it's a foul. You know, but what do you guys think about that? You know, what do you guys think about those rules? You know, I'm definitely a little biased since you know, we made the Turtle Man rules, the Dungeon Super Series rules. We use the same rules, but I really like them. I think it's the best of 3 areas. When I designed them, I did get a lot of help and a lot of feedback, so I appreciate all the help and feedback. But when they were designed, 3 things I was, thinking about was 1, the athletes, 2, the referees, and 3, the fans. We got to make rules that's good for everybody. And I think these rules are the best for everybody. I mean, I know I'm definitely biased, but in all of the competition tournaments, super matches I've been in, this is the first time I've like really, really liked the rules. Like I kind of don't even want to go back to other rules. You know what I mean? But I think that's a good sign. I think that's a good sign. Brian says, "What was the first league to use warnings?" I don't know. The first league that I think overdid it with the warnings was WAL. I do understand what they were trying to do and make the matches finish, make it more entertaining. But that, yeah, I'm sure they weren't the first ones. I'm sure it was not their idea. Maybe it was. But I think warnings have been part of arm wrestling for a while, if I'm not mistaken. Brian says, LOL. I was going to say WL was the Entertainment Value League. So, yeah. Yeah, I definitely think, yeah, more towards entertainment, which I definitely see why they do that, you know what I mean? But I think there's a better way for everybody in terms, like, athletes, referees, and the fans watching. I mean, I still got to make modifications to the rules, but I think the Turtle Man rules, the Dungeon Super Series rules, is it's gonna catch on with a lot of people, I think, and I think a lot of promoters will start doing those things, which is, yeah, absolutely. Anybody can use these rules. You know what I mean? Like, don't anybody, like, if you want to copy and paste the rules that we use for Turtle Man and Dungeon Super Series, have at it, because I think if more people started doing the rules we used, it would be more entertaining. It will be it will be faster for the referees. Um, no, there should be no question on fouls or anything like that, because if it's a foul, it's a foul. There's no. It's super easy. A foul is a foul. You know what I mean? There's no warning. So if you foul, do something wrong, it's a foul. Let's see. Josh says, I'm so used to strict rules. As soon as I have to deviate, the chances of shanking a call is higher for me. Well, let's see. I mean, Turtle Man it can be strict. I mean, it gradually gets stricter and stricter. I mean, at the end, the last end range of the motion is super strict. Like when we were talking a little bit that once we get to our last referee's grip, it's a 100% referee's grip. You can't even move. You can't. Once the referee moves you, you can't adjust. Otherwise, it's a foul. But yeah, I definitely know what you're saying. Just need more practice. Just need more practice, man. Um, Let's see. What else can we talk about? Any other questions? Because you guys had some good questions so far with the MAC table, the rules, Fitzy and versus Bill. That could be a great match actually. I think everyone would agree too. Um, Josh says Bill who? Sinks? Question mark? Yeah, Bill Sinks. So we were talking about Bill Sinks versus James Fitzsimmons. I call him Fitzy. Um, but Fitzy's probably a little older. Bill's what? 60? 59, 60? Uh, Fitzy's probably 67, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe older. But it could be an interesting match. Different styles. Josh says, bro, he has some side pressure. I watched his match against Storm. Yeah, that was impressive. I did think I thought Storm for sure was going to win. So that's very. I was definitely surprised. So good for Bill. But yeah, man, he's got some crazy side. Plus, it's like kind of like like a pronated side. His hand is he's not hitting flat. He's hitting like this way. You know what I mean? So everything's all twisted up. But it's good. I've pulled Bill a couple times in practice. But it was usually always after a match or something like that. So I never really felt Bill full power. Um, Josh says, and that club-like hand. Yeah, it's definitely impressive. Big hand. And he's like 198 or something. I think he's under 205 or something like that. So he's got a big hand for not he's not a super big guy, but his hand is super big, big reach. He's got a super heavyweight hand. Um, maybe I'll make a video on the rules that we created. Maybe that will be easier for you guys to see. You know what I mean? Or maybe understand certain things. Because to me, like I definitely can understand how people are getting confused with the rules. But to me, I think it is. I think like I think these rules it's very very basic and simple. Um, and I think it's very easy, to overthink it, to make it harder than it is, add more things in there than there is. Um, but yeah, maybe I'll make a video of the rules. But maybe since we're on the topic, I'll do a little rundown from the start to the end. I might get a little sidetracked, but I'll try to stay on the rules. So, with our rules, when the athletes step up, well, first off, too, if this is a tournament, once an athlete's name is called, as soon as it's called, a timer is started, and that athlete has 60 seconds to be at the table, not putting chalk on, not doing, they have to be, if they're not at the table at 60 seconds, it's a loss. So, keep that in mind. That's for a tournament. I mean, we do something like that for super matches. We have 60-second breaks, but, tournament, keep that in mind. Now the next thing, other than that, the first thing that's going to go is once athletes are at the table. If I'm the referee, I'm going to go to athlete, are you good? If they say yes, I'm going to go to the next athlete. Athlete, are you good? If they say yes, now this has to be a verbal yes or no. If both athletes say yes, the next command is going to be don't move, go. That's going to be the next command. And also, too, there is in our rules, the word ready is not used. Ready will never be used in our rules. It's going to be don't move with a space, don't move, go. That's how the cadence is at ours. There is no ready. Don't move means don't move because the go is coming. If you move, it's going to be a false start foul. All false starts are fouls. Let's see. Laurel says, good morning. What's up, Laurel? Good morning. All false starts are fouls. Anything that is a foul is a foul. Anything that would be a warning in other leagues is a foul. So let's go back to the beginning. Say if one athlete says yes, I'm good. The other athlete says no. So now the consent rule is done. We cannot go back to it. One athlete says no. So now the referee needs to step in. First thing they're going to do is they're going to square the shoulders. They're going to square the shoulder of athlete 1, square the shoulders of athlete 2. Make sure they're square. Once the referee goes from shoulders onto the athlete's hands, if a athlete carves their shoulder, if a referee has to go from hands back to shoulders, that is going to be a foul for carving. That is, and I was worried about that rule when we first had it. I thought there'd be a lot of fouls, but guess what? We did not have one, to mine, at least when I was reffing, there was not one carving foul. So people were able to start straight, and so some reason they were able to start straight. If you know what I mean, put a little, just set some rules. Like if you carve, it's a foul. You know what I mean? Now, people are gonna do it more on the, gonna do it with speed and ready to go. Oh, I should say we don't say ready to go. Don't move, go. They're gonna square the shoulders, go to the hands. If for some reason athletes cannot get a grip, their own grip, the only thing that's not going to be their own is the shoulders. The referee is going to square them out. Also, to center and thumbs. Once someone says no to the consent rules, you have to have center. You have to show thumb knuckle. You have to have your wrist. Everything has to be straight and neutral. You can't start bent. You can't start back. You can't start under. You have to start neutral. In flat, everybody starts the same. If for some instance people can't get their own grip in 15 seconds, they are So at 16 seconds, the referee is going to put him in a referee's set grip. So it's a referee's grip, but the athletes are going to close their own hand. So the referee will get the shoulders, get the center. They might even move your elbow around because remember it's a referee's grip. The only thing they're not doing is closing your hands. They need to get centered. The way the referee's set grip is going to look, the athletes are together. Referee's going to say thumbs, fingers, don't move, go. As long as you're not, if you cover a knuckle, it's a foul. If so keep that in mind. If you in that referee's set grip, you have to close your own hand without covering. If you do, it's a foul. If for some reason another 15 seconds, athletes cannot get a grip, it will be a full traditional referee's grip. They'll move everything. They can move your elbow around, anything they want. They close the hands. They will ask if you want to cover or no cover, or cap or no cap. That's your only really choice. The referee closes both hands. It's gonna close the thumbs, then it's gonna close both hands one at a time, the traditional way. And that's how that's going to work. All elbow fouls will be a foul. If there's running fouls, there's 3 fouls. So say for instance, if one athlete, so don't move, go, match starts, one athlete pops, the other athlete does not. It's a live match, but the athlete that popped has a running foul. They have to get the pin for a restart, or their opponent can let it go or try to win. If they get the don't move, go, and both athletes pop, coincidental foul, live match, and because both athletes popped at the same time, there is no foul. So like it was a coincidental foul because of power. So this is why we need, I think we need, if you notice, if you watch the pay-per-view, we had 3 referees. I do think we're going to add a 4th one. I wanted 4 this year, but or the first event, but I think we're going to add a 4th ref to the next event. Because I'm trying to make, we talked a little bit about yesterday, baseball, every umpire has their position. I'm trying to make something where there's positions to the arm wrestling table. Each referee has a certain job, and they never leave that job, So, what I'm trying to eliminate is the referee having to, look this way and lose vision here and this way. Let's see, we got someone parked down at the driveway. I wonder who it's for. Let's see, they might just be, oh, I'm checking out the neighbor's, neighbor put some furniture out in the yard, and in the road, and that's what they're checking out. But I got a little sidetracked. I forgot exactly where it was. Brian says the chimney salesman. So if you want to see the live, we didn't show them, but I thought they were different guys. A couple of years ago, they were, that Jeep I got outside. There was a salvage company. I forgot the name of it, but there was like 3 weeks where they had multiple workers, like every single day, like 3 to 4 times a day, knock on my door. If I was in the gym, they come in and start and try to buy my Jeep, and then they'd give me some kind of like absolutely insulting offer, and then I told them to get out of here, and then it led to I had to. They would show up 3-4 times a day, and each time would be a different person, and they would pretend that they have no idea that anyone else was here before. So I thought it was those guys. So that's why I was like, I'm gonna have to karate chop these guys again. But yeah, they're always trying to build your chimney. We don't even use the chimney. Just for show. Just for show. But back to the rules. I don't remember where I was talking. I think I was talking about the referee's grip. Something from there. Fouls, elbow fouls. I think that's why it was elbow fouls. And the umpire referees. That's where it was. But yeah, the head referee is, getting the start command. They're gonna watch your shoulders, stuff like that. They're gonna see if the shoulder crosses center. They're gonna see if the hand touches the shoulder, anything like that. The down ref is gonna watch the pin line on his side. There's going to be a third referee behind the head ref that's going to watch the pin line flash pins, because it takes that head ref a half a second to, get down in position, stuff like that. Maybe it'll be easier if I show with a video, but let's see. Boss House 1998 says, "What's up, G? Greetings from Finland. What's up, man? Thanks for watching. If you like arm wrestling, you picked the right spot. I hear they got some good arm wrestlers over there in Finland, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, man, if you got any arm wrestling questions, let me know. We do some arm wrestling over here. Oh, also too, I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail of this live. It's a zoom in picture of what? What is it a zoom in picture of? If anybody can guess what that zoomed in picture is of, one guess per person will get a free ticket to the next in-person pay-per-view event in Connecticut. So go look at the thumbnail, try to guess what it's from, and you could win a ticket. You could win a ticket to the next in-person pay-per-view. All right, and that was quick. Josh the camera guy says Tiger Stripe 80s Lupke pants, and that was it. So you got a free ticket, Josh. That's got to be a record. That is definitely a record on our guessing game. First try and under 1 minute since I offered off the game. That's a record that might stand for a while, Josh. That's pretty impressive. Boss House says, who is your favorite arm wrestler of all time? The guy with the tiger stripe pants from the 80s, Richard Lupkes. The man that got Josh a free ticket to the next pay-per-view event. And he actually, he might have to give that ticket to somebody else because he might be the camera guy. Camera guy already gets a free ticket to the event. So you can give that ticket to somebody else, Josh. If you come up and be the cameraman, you give that ticket to someone else. You know what I mean? Make sure they're cool. You know what I mean? Pick somebody cool. No weirdos if you can. You know? I don't know if you guys heard that, but that was neighbor's furniture. They had like a big bookshelf out there. They put out there for free, and the wind knocked it over. Josh says, bruh, he's my favorite. Yeah, I feel you, man. He's one of my favorite probably my favorite arm wrestler as a fan. Boss House says OG. Brian says legend. Definitely is. That camera guy Josh says, I'll give it to Brian Shaw. That's a smart idea. I think Brian might be a little scared. I don't know if he'll want to make the trip all the way to Connecticut. Because there's no, I don't know if there's any strongman competitors in the state that he can arm wrestle. He'll have to arm wrestle an arm wrestler. I don't know if he wants to do that yet. But either way, send that ticket to Brian, because he might show up. I did ask Brian if he was interested in sponsoring the Turtle Man charity, being one of the sponsors. But he never got back to me. But what are you gonna do? He's a busy dude. Stuff happens. Josh says, fine, Brandon Allen can have that ticket then. Yeah, man, he's probably more likely to show up. He's definitely more likely to show up. So you just send them both a message. Say, hey, we got a ticket for you waiting here in Connecticut. You just got to show up. It's here waiting for you. And see who shows up. If they both show up, we'll just, we'll give the guy that shows up second half off a ticket or something like that, But that could be good. Let's see. Oh, Chief is calling. I'm gonna have to call him back after. Probably heard us talking about all these matches, and he said, hey, who would be a good match? Ron the High Chief Columba versus Brian Malek. That could be a great match. I think it will. At 176, that's probably what they'll meet at. It's not locked in, but that's looking like that's going to be one of the matches at the second Dungeon Super Series. 1998 says, you think Auden Larrett is going to get to the top? Yeah, man. I don't see why not. I mean, he's got a good team. He's young. He's hungry. He seems to be pretty smart. So, yeah, man, I think it's only a matter of time before he's a real problem for a lot of people in the sport. Brian says, I'll send him one certified mail. Yeah, definitely make it fast, man. Make it fast, Brian. Use your pull in the post office to get it overnight, Josh says a big ass super round robin. That could be cool. That could be very cool. I've actually never been in a round robin myself. Just tournaments and some super matches. And a handicap match where, I did the 1-on-3. Can't tell you the score, but it's on the pay-per-view if you want to see a 1 versus 3 super match. That's one of the 9 matches. 1998 says, well said. Yeah, definitely, So he's got all the tools already. He just got to put in the work and the time, Well, sorry about the spitting on camera. I just can't swallow any more lemon seeds. The human body can only eat so many lemon seeds before it starts to fight back. Let's see. 1998 says, what about Jerry Caderet? Too much miles behind? Do you mean like miles wear and tear on the body? Is that what you mean? Too much miles behind? Is that what you mean? The house, boss house? Is that what you mean, man? If that's what you, okay, cool. He says, yeah. No, man. I don't think. I mean, he's definitely got some crazy miles on him. But the last time I pulled him, I mean, I don't, it's like what the things don't make sense, you know. In a good way. He's super strong. He's getting stronger. Um, um, but yeah, Jerry is he's a problem. I mean, I would think Jerry definitely is in the top. Like like without a doubt. I don't think there's anybody that could say Jerry Caderet is not in the top 10 super heavyweights in the world. You know, I mean, he's in the top 10. You know, and so I would even say top 5. You know what I mean? Um, Boss House says top 20 easy. Yeah, definitely top 20. I would definitely say top 10. You know what I mean? But Josh says left or right. Definitely right. Definitely right. If you're talking about Jerry, definitely right. His left is I mean his left is still super good. Like people don't realize his left is still super good. Um he's got a little bit of an injury going on with his left. Um 98 says, but you know the young guys are coming hard. Definitely true. Definitely true. Um, definitely true. Um, but what are you gonna do? You know, that's what you gotta do. But I think of arm wrestling, it's a unique sport where the old bull can reign for a very, very long time. You know, um, definitely not easy, but with what the sport, you know, prioritizes, you know, there's things you could do. Like look at the top guys. Like we were just talking about, you know, Jerry. He's 50 something. Um, you know, Devin's 50 something. You know, we were just talking about two guys that were 60, 70. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting. You know, definitely the young guys are young and hungry, but they might just need time to condition the body like those old bulls, you know, are super conditioned. And you know, every 7 years the body changes pretty much. Every cell is different. So every 7 years your bones get, if you train, your bones get stronger and stronger, the tendons get stronger and stronger. um let's see. Boss House says like Leonidas, comma chance. Yeah, definitely those guys are definitely they're coming up fast. Josh says yes they are, definitely true. Brian says I got 2 good matches for you. All right, what are we waiting for, Brian? What are we waiting for? What are the matches? Because I'll be honest with you, I've been struggling trying to get some good matches for this next event. So if you got good matches, I'll tell you what, you probably should tell me. I'm curious if it's anything like the first match you said. There'll be a good one. That first one you said, Bill and Fitzy, that could be very interesting. Oh, that could be interesting. Brian says Damien versus Seth. That could be interesting. It would have to be lefty. Seth only does lefty. That could definitely be interesting. They had about a 15-minute match at the tournament. Tournament 2. It's probably like 15, maybe even 38 minutes. I only saw the first minute because I was reffing. But I'll tell you what, that was a crazy crazy match, you know. Then he says Sam Mitchell versus Kevin Palco. That could definitely be interesting. Where's Kevin Palco from? Is he Midwest? Is he Midwest? That could be a good match. Are they both at both 176, Ohio? Yeah, that could definitely be a cool match. I mean, if he could get over here, that'd be great. I just don't think if he require like he might require at the level he's at, he might require possibly a little bit more out of our budget. But I'm definitely gonna hit him up. That's a great match. Maybe he'll like the match so much he'll won't want to pull. Um, but it's tricky, the pay per view. Let's see. Let's see. Boss House. Whoop, hold on. Let's see. Brian says, I think Kevin pulls 154, but he might be bigger now. Okay. That could definitely be cool. That could definitely be. That definitely could be a real cool match. So let's see. Boss House says, you tell me, how big is the difference between the stronger and the weaker arm we see Devin go with both arms? Well, his left is no joke, but his right is definitely a step ahead than his left. Like his left is still no joke, but yeah, I think he has like half a decade or whatever, maybe more than half a decade of just exclusive right arm training. So he's definitely modified. That right arm is definitely extra modified. Matt Acoustic says, "Good morning, dude. What's up, man? What's up, man?" The house says, "Sorry, I'm a newbie to the sport. Just like to hear." No, man, that's great. We need more newbies. That's how the sport grows. So we appreciate you asking those questions because how else are you gonna learn? You gotta ask. Sometimes you have to ask questions that you know. What's that old? I used to hear it in school all the time. It was like if you, I don't remember exactly, but if you ask the question, you're a fool for a day. But if you don't ask the question, you're a fool for eternity or something, or I don't know, something like that. You know. But man, yeah, definitely 98. Don't be sorry, man. We appreciate you here. Arm wrestling's a fun sport, so maybe it'd be worth start to train for it. Mad Acoustic says, you inspired me to start training the arms a bit more for arm wrestling again. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Um, so you're gonna say some Mad Acoustic. You're gonna get back into competing, start competing, maybe find a tournament. Because I'm sure if you have something locked in line, you'll train even harder, you know. But acoustic, where are you from? Are you in the States? Are you overseas? You know, maybe I could find you an arm wrestling team. If you're not in my area, maybe I know another team in you know that I can hook you up with. Boss House says much respect. Matt Acoustic says the States. Okay, cool. I mean, if you're looking for an arm wrestling team, I'm in Connecticut. I know a whole bunch of teams all over mostly on the East Coast. Some in Florida, some in California. Uh, yeah, if you're looking for a team, let me know the general area. Maybe I can hook you up with something. Um, let's see. Acoustic says, truth be told, my son would probably be better suited. He got youth and some real natural strength on his side. That's awesome. But I tell you what, why don't you guys train together? You know, I'm sure it'd be a good father son bonding experience training for a competition. You know, why not do both? And if you both are in, I don't know how far away, I don't know how, if you guys are in the same house or not, if you guys are close by, maybe you guys could train together a little bit. You know, if you're too far away from the team or a team, you know, maybe you guys can get some working, get some arm wrestling, you know. Um, just thinking out loud, you know. But I tell you what, that could be fun. That could be fun. Let's see. Acoustic says that's a good idea. Although my win ratio would be lagging for a while until I get up to the sniff again. That's all right, man. That's all right. You know, you get more when you on the losses. You tend to learn more. You get more information about what you need to get better on. Because if you're just smashing everyone all the time, you know, you don't really learn anything other than you don't really get any data other than that you smashed. Boss houses. What's the most important muscle slash technique to draft with? Um, what do you mean to draft with? Maybe you mean to train with? Acoustic says, "Thanks, dude. Have a great man." I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Uh, let's see. 98 says, "Sorry, autocorrect." Yeah, usually I'm pretty good with reading the typos. Acoustic says, "Great day, man." And whoops, yeah, yeah. I got that one. I just thought it was funnier to read the way it was reading, instead of "Have a great day, man." It said, "Have a great man," or something like that. Have a great man. Was that what you said? Have a great man. That's how you want to start your day, with a great man. But yeah, let me know what uh 98. Let me know what that word is, because I can't figure that one out. Do you mean drag? Best technique to drag with? Um, what? Let's see. But if I had to answer just basically, he says, what's the most important muscle? Drop the phone. You guys, don't worry. And we're back. We are back. Let's see. So Boss House says, what is the best training method? I would say arm wrestling on the table with arm wrestlers. It sounds very simple, but it's like it's a skill, it's a sport. It's like what's the best way to get better at baseball? And that's to play baseball. So it's the same thing. You need to arm wrestle. You need to be with a good team. Also, too, the weights are very important. Depending on which weight class you're in the weights changes the importance of weights, in my opinion. But I would say the best way to train for arm wrestling is to practice on the table. Josh says, "Man down." Yeah, I wonder how that looked on camera. I wonder how that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it because it's funny. Usually it's funny. Boss says, "So you need to spar." So that word spar could be tricky. Maybe I feel like different people could see it different ways. But I like to say practice. You need to practice on the table. Those times when we will do sparring, like when you're just going super hard with teammates. To trying to get some good work in, some live action work. And then there's times when you're just you're talking with your teammate, you're doing certain positions, and it's more of a practice certain positions. So I think you need both. I think you need that hardcore slamming, when you're just trying to murder each other. And you also do need the do this certain positions, reps after reps after reps, to train the body, to train the nervous system, stuff like that. Josh says it looked very cinematic. LOL. That's good. Brian says it was chaos. Thought you got hit by a car. That would have been rough. I'm sitting in the driveway. So if someone did that, that would have been pretty impressive, But Boss says on the table. Yeah, definitely on the table. But I usually practice. I try to get 3 times. I don't think I'm gonna get 3 times this week. My car is down right now, so I can't really travel too much. But I try to get 2 to 3 practices. I usually have one to two really hard days, which would be like, I guess, like sparring practices, and the other one is more technical. I'll work certain positions over and over and over again, stuff like that. But it's interesting, it's definitely interesting. Let's see. Hey, what's up, Brian? He says, hello, guys. Just checking in. All is well. Oh, that's good, man. That's good. We're talking about some arm wrestling stuff. We're talking about mostly arm wrestling stuff today. I think we're all. I don't think any of the conversation really got sidetracked from arm wrestling. So that's a big step for us. That means we're learning. We are maturing as a group of people. So it's a good sign. That's a good sign. It means we're getting stronger and smarter. Um, Very interesting. Very interesting. Let's see. Brian says, "Yeah, man, I'm looking for advice about training for side pressure." Um, so there's different types of side pressure. Um, there's different types of side pressure. Um, I would say with side pressure, you need to build it slowly. You need to build it slowly. I mean, you can build it fast, but the problem is that the risk of injury is high because it's a unit of structure together to make that side pressure. You know what I mean? Like muscles are definitely using, but it's a structure thing. You know what I mean? So if anything is injured, you will injure the structure. Um, there's multiple ways. I would say mess around with statics first. Isometric statics. It's on. I don't know if you're a member or not, but I did some side pressure yesterday on the membership live, where I hook up. It's on a cable. So it's two things. There's a cable. There wasn't much. There was like 30 pounds on the cable, and then I took a strap. So when you pulled it to a certain point, like I was in center, so when you had I had a handle with 30 pounds on the cable and a strap. So when I get to center, the cable would be tight, but also the strap would be tight. And then I would lean into the strap. That is called a static. No, isometric. That is called an isometric. A static would have been without the rope and just holding the weight. But I would say do isometrics first, or start with higher reps. I would start with reps of 20. Get the volume in first, and then slowly start to build. Um, yeah, that's what I would say. If you need advice for side pressure, start with isometrics or high reps or both. Build it up slowly and slowly add to it, and I think that's the best way to do it. Boss House says, "Shit, I'm sorry. First time commenting on a stream. Been watching the sport for 3 years. Just learned it's mostly technique. Much live for much live for this sport." Hey, no worries, man. Don't be sorry. I appreciate you commenting. Um, it's a lot of technique. It's a lot of power. It's different factors. You know what I mean? Like if you go up against someone that's way too strong and you're not strong enough, it's not going to matter how good of a technical guy you are. You're not going to be able to move him no matter what. And vice versa. You know what I mean? There are times where the technique beats the strength, but if what I meant by the last thing is if someone was say say if Giannis went against Levon, Giannis could be more technical, he could be better, but I don't think there's anything that Giannis is going to be able to do to Levon, so stuff like that. Strength definitely matters, but so does technique, and it depends on how how it's used, different times. Brian says, I need a good defense. I'll tell you what's a good defense is a awesome offense. But no, I know what you mean. I've been working on defense too. Defensive arm wrestling, I feel, is even more technical than offense, if that makes sense. Boss House says, "Oh, okay, I see the typo. I get that one now." Boss House 98 says, "First competition this weekend." Ah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Josh, we are just about to ask that same question to him. What tournament? Yeah, what tournament, man? Brian says, I'm 56. 56. Statics are a good idea. Yes, I'm trying. LOL. Yep, I use bands just about, like you say. Lately, notice I'm losing sometimes my pronation, etc. Getting strong is primary. I get it. All right, so if you're losing your pronation, we can't have that, man. We're going to have to start doing some more pronation, man. We're going to have to start adding some pronation, start doing some heavy statics, some dynamic movement with some pronation. Yeah, because you don't want to lose your pronation. And Brian says, I agree. Because even like Jerry, even though it looks like he has no pronation when he flops and stuff, that pronation is very important in his press. He is, if you look at his thumb position, next time you see a good presser, look at where their thumb is. Their thumb's not like this. Their thumb is like this. They have their pronator locked in. Brian says palm up sucks. Definitely does. Unless if you're Todd Hutchings or somebody like that, then it's okay for some reason. They just say screw it and they send it. Maybe that's all you need. You just need that mindset. Say, fuck it, and just send it. That could be the secret. That could be the secret. Brian says, working my press more. Oh, good. Good. Yeah, the press is a good move to have. It's a good move to have. I feel like the more moves you have, the better. Brian says, LOL. He must be laughing at the send it joke, I think. The other Brian. Well, I shouldn't say other. I guess he's another Brian, but Senior Pliskin Brian, he's on our team. I see him recently. I've been seeing him every week. He took a little break. We won't talk about that. He took like a little break. We haven't seen him for like a year. We won't talk about that. But he's back. And but Brian Johnson, I don't think we've ever met, but he's been in the chat for a while. You know what I mean? Definitely appreciate you commenting and stuff. He says, "Yep, right on. Send it, yeah, man. Send it." Boss House says it's a Finnish pub league, open weight. My time. That's what I'm talking about, man. Just protect yourself. You know what I mean? Protect yourself. If you're getting a bad position, maybe don't break your arm unless you're really committed. Then go for it. But maybe live to fight another day. But if I would say go for the win, man. Go for the win. Let's see. Brian says good talks. I gotta get on my date. The sunshine and I'm outdoors. All right. Brian says, or if you're reading it, it says Senior Pliskin says, I want dark. LOL. I see. I see what you're saying. It took me a second to talk about the sunshine. Some people want sunshine, some people want darkness. Oh, nope. He says I went dark, LOL. What I'm not sure what you mean by that. Josh says be careful in an open class. Be careful in an open class. That's like playing roulette, the Russian kind. Yeah, man, you might get some monster, super heavyweight guy, or some absolute animals, lighter. But definitely right. Be careful in that open class. Anything goes. Brian says, WTF? Ha ha ha. The other Brian says 154 pounds. I'll say it again. The coveted golden turtle will be mine. Hey, man, that's a great goal. And I'll tell you what, that 154-pound class is usually stacked. That turtle, man. I'm not saying it's not possible. All I'm saying is you got your hands full, and that's going to be a great challenge, and that will make the turtle even more enjoyable to whoever gets to bring home that golden turtle. Brian said, I can't type shit. I disappeared. And that's what happens, when you're walking at work. We don't want to say that you're driving the mail truck and texting. That would be illegal. But I know you're speed walking and texting. That's what it is. 98 says it's going to be about 30 competitors. I weigh 70 kgs, but still going to dominate. All right, man. Have at it, man. 30 competitors. That's a pretty good class. Is it double elimination? Is that what they're doing? Double elimination or single elimination? I wonder. Josh says, I love watching that class. Yeah, me too, man. I definitely enjoy that class. Brian says, gotta go, guys. Love arm wrestling and stay strong, everyone. Definitely appreciate that. Take care, Brian. Have a good day, and maybe we'll see you tonight. We're gonna try to get on an interview with Andrew Majerski, aka Andrew Macho Man. It's gonna be cool. We'll talk about some of our experiences and stuff. His experience too, about the Dungeon Super Series and what's next, stuff like that. So let's see. Brian Johnson, here we go. Sending it. LOL. Send it, bro. Red Green Turtle. Let's see. He says, can I get strong doing trap bar deadlifts? Question marks. That's all I got. Yeah, definitely, man. You can definitely get strong. It's a good exercise. Fun fact about the trap bar deadlift. It's actually more of a squat than it is a deadlift. I know you're picking it up from the floor. But I always like to say this because it's fun. It's definitely a deadlift. You're picking up from the floor, but it's more of a squat. Because the center of gravity in the weight is directly down your midline, versus a deadlift, it is in front of you. But yeah, you could definitely get stronger doing trap bar deadlifts. I mean, there's multiple. That if all you got is a trap bar and some weights, red green, you could definitely get stronger. There's also a whole bunch of other exercises you could do. You could do curls and bench presses and lunges. You could do a whole bunch of stuff. Farmer carries with that thing. Do some overhead shoulder press, some curl. You can do a whole bunch of stuff with that. So yeah, man, absolutely, you can get stronger with that. Brian says, I'll check it out tonight. All right. It's not It's not locked in, but if it does, it's definitely gonna be after 6 p.m. But it's looking pretty good. Let's see. Let's see. Red Green Turtle says, "Thanks, man. Seen a video saying it's bad and dangerous, so I got scared. It sucks." Oh, no, I mean, I wouldn't say bad. I mean, anything. See, the thing with the word dangerous is, with anything can be considered dangerous. Say, for instance, if it's, snowing out, raining, and it's slippery, walking outside could be dangerous because you could slip and break your neck. You know what I mean? So, like, stuff like that, you got to be careful. That's probably what that guy's talking about. I'm assuming that the guy that made the video, he probably hurt his back once doing that, that exercise or something. But personally, I think the trap bar deadlift, if you do it right, it could be done extremely safe. And I think it's a good exercise. You know what I mean? It pretty much hits all your muscles. I mean, not specifically, but you know what I mean? Like, it's everything is going to be worked. Your legs, your grip, your arms, your shoulders. I mean, not specifically, but they're going to be worked. You know what I mean? But definitely take your time with it. Like, build it up good. Really work on your technique. You know what I mean? Um, that technique will help you stay safe. But yeah, man, I think it's a great exercise. I think also too, uh, in order to qualify if an exercise is good or bad, you have to see if it meets your goals. You know what I mean? Like, say maybe that guy that made the video was I don't know, say for example, maybe he was a tennis player or something. That's probably a terrible example, but let's just say a sport that let's say a chess player. How about this? So maybe he was a professional chess player, and so maybe the trap bar deadlift, wasn't not going to help a chess player, but if you're just looking to get stronger, yeah, that exercise is definitely going to help you. The camera guy Josh says lots of things are dangerous, but if you put yourself in a bubble, are you really living life? Question mark. Very true. Very true. And if I would think in that bubble, the body would probably get very weak. The only stress that, in that bubble the body would feel is just gravity itself, you know. But speaking of bubble, remember that movie Bubble Boy? Anybody ever see Bubble Boy? I used to watch that all the time as a kid. And if you guys remember, what do you say? You pay me $500, something like that. So remember, you pay me $500. But I'll tell you what's more dangerous. What's more dangerous than trying to get strong? I'll tell you what I definitely know is more dangerous than trying to get strong, and that is getting weak. That is more dangerous than trying to get strong. I know that for a fact. Uh, Josh says, "LOL, yes, Bubble Boy, ha ha ha." Yeah, that was a good movie. That was a real good movie. Um, Come to think about it, I'm thinking about that movie. Those parents should have been arrested or something. They kidnapped imprisoned that kid in a bubble for like 30 years. But he's finally free. He's finally free. But they could have easily made that movie into a horror story. You know, imagine that. Imagine Bubble Boy, the horror story. The guy's trying to escape from the crazy mother. You know, that's funny. That's funny. Like, what's that movie with? Was it Misery when the the chick found the guy that was an author and kept him in the cabin and then broke his ankles? Is that Misery or something? I'm thinking something like that. Brian says Bubble Boy 2. Yeah, man, it's coming. It's coming. Josh says, remember the part where he got his first eggplant? LOL. I don't remember that. Did he have like he was with a chick or something? So I haven't watched that movie since I was like a kid, I'm pretty sure. But I don't remember that. Maybe if I saw something about the clip, it would spark my memory. But yeah, I don't remember that. Josh says, yes, that was Misery. Yeah, that was an interesting movie. That was a good movie. I haven't watched that in a while, but I watched that. I used to watch that as a kid too. Josh says, I'm trying to be nasty on your stream. LOL. I appreciate that. Because we were missing. We've been missing our trolls. We haven't had any trolls in I don't know how many days. I'm starting to get a little worried. I hope they're okay. I hope they're okay out there. Oh, we're back. We're back, I think. But we're getting worried about those trolls. Um, Hopefully they're okay. I think what happened is they probably got nervous. They got scared of being put in timeout because it's something you definitely don't want to uh, find out. Josh says, "Damn it, trying not to be nasty." Ugh. Oh, good. I was like, wait a second. I think that's when I was reading that. I was like, he seems. I think it was sarcasm, but it wasn't sarcasm. You just forgot the most important word of the sentence. But I tell you what, I've done that. I've definitely done that before. Uh, but let's see. I know I've been on here for quite a while. I've missed quite a bit of phone calls. So if anyone's watching that tried to call me before, my apologies for not picking up. But I'm gonna hang out for another 10 minutes max, probably. 1 to 10 minutes probably. But let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about or anything like that. More lemon seeds. Remember, guys, I'm not sure what time recovery lift today. If you guys are interested, open gym recovery lift. I mean, you guys are welcome to go heavy. If it's a heavy day for you, you're more than welcome to go heavy. But my second lift will be a recovery lift. I might do another live members video for the workout. So if you guys want to see that, gonna have to do sign up to the pay-per-view memberships. Get a whole bunch of with the pay-per-view membership. Get a whole bunch of things. Um, um, you get the pay-per-view, which is right there is definitely worth it. But also too, you get you get other exclusive member videos like the lives that we're doing, other stuff, other live videos, other exclusive videos. But also too, you get an unlimited discount. So what I mean by unlimited is you can use it every single day if you wanted to. 5% discount on all Team Stone merchandise, coaching services, personal training services, programming. You get 5% discount if you are a current member, and you could use that every single day if you wanted to, as long as you are a current member. Josh says you also do a live at a Halloween event. That would be badass. Now, do you mean like an arm wrestling Halloween event, or like a haunted house? Is that what you mean? Because those both could be cool. Maybe we'll take the team out to a haunted house and see who wets themselves first. Because we got some scaredy cats on the team. Gotta watch out for those scaredy cats. Let's see. Brian says, you doing the lift before the Macho Live or after? I'm home already and Sale will be back in a couple hours, so we can do whatever. I don't know if you can make it now. If I know you're about 30 minutes away, I'm gonna be hitting a medium workout in probably about probably about 30 minutes is when I'm gonna start. So if you want to come now, you're more than welcome to. Or it would probably be before Macho, the second one. I'm not locked in there. That's the thing that's tricky, is I'm not sure yet. If you guys are around earlier, will probably be better. But I also might do a little something before and after. A little quick recovery thing. But yeah, man, if you're more than welcome, if you want to come now, you're more than welcome. If not, come to the second one. It will probably be before. Josh says haunted house or venue that has multiple haunts in like carnival type games. Yeah, that could definitely be cool. I know we talked a little bit about the haunted houses when you're up Tuesday. The only one that I know of that's like pretty good, or at least I haven't been there since I was probably 18 or something like that, maybe even younger. But Lake Compounds they used to have, I don't know if it's still good anymore, but they used to have a pretty good haunted house. More adult, oriented, more scary stuff. Yeah, that could definitely be fun. But I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stuff. Even what's that? Salem, Massachusetts. I'm sure that place gets crazy in the Halloween time. I think that's like 2 or 3 hours away from me, so that's doable. That could definitely be doable. Um, well, that was definitely a record. That had to be like 30 lemon seeds. That was a lot of seeds. That's what I don't know if you heard them or not, but there was like 30 of them. That was impressive. Josh says, "Heck yeah, yeah, man. If you want, you're more than welcome. I'll give you a heads up. We'll plan it out if you want to come up, because I know you like the Halloween stuff. Could be cool. Could be a lot of fun too. I haven't done any Halloween stuff in a really long time, so it could be a lot of fun. Josh says favorite time of year. That's awesome. Yeah, when I was younger, I know Halloween used to be I used to really love Halloween, especially when I was a kid. It used to be my favorite favorite holiday was Halloween. So I definitely agree with you. Halloween is always fun. I just, some reason I stopped doing all that Halloween fun stuff. But you're right. It's time. You're right, Josh. It's time we start that back up. It's coming up. Halloween is what, 2 weeks or something? 2 weeks. Maybe there's something. Is anything in Jersey? Anything Halloween in Jersey? Maybe we could set it up so where if I come down on a Sunday and practice with you guys, maybe we can go after practice or something. Just thinking out loud. But if you know of any cool spots in Jersey, I could definitely make the trip to Jersey. Because it's only 3.5 hours. If it was 4, that'd be crazy. But since it's only 3.5, that's doable. um, but I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. Uh, let's see. Josh says like PA has like Fright Nights. I think it's called maybe. I sense your sarcasm. Yeah, there might have been a little bit, but 4 hours, that's definitely crazy. But yeah, 3 hours is doable. But yeah, I've definitely driven further than that. Um, but yeah, that could be cool. Maybe depending on what part of PA we can meet up at Storms, or maybe we could even get Dave Chafee. I know he's in Pennsylvania. I think he's way souther, but you know maybe we could do something like that. Brian says, I'm probably going to head over now and maybe we'll hit recovery later too. I'll text you in a few minutes. All right, cool. Yeah, let me know. Let me know. Josh says he's all the way in Erie. How far away is Erie? Like 9 hours or something? I'm not sure. Chafee, I'm talking about. Yeah, I know. I'm not sure where Erie is. I know. Dave lives in there. I'm just not sure where it is, but maybe is it like 9 hours or something like that? Is it like way out there north of Pittsburgh? Okay. All right. So maybe that would be one of those days that we definitely have to get a hotel or something. You know. But it's an option. It's an option. We could always find a Halloween thing in the middle, meet at the Halloween thing, and then practice in the parking lot, and then go in after or something. Well, that could be something. That could be something. Um, but I think that's it, guys. I definitely. Josh says all the way across top of PA. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I'm not the best with geography, but now I think you know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's a pretty good hike. I'm gonna when I hop off, I'll Google it, see how many hours from me. I would think 6 at least. But all right, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Um, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a live again for the members, but I'm gonna try. Depending on my phone battery, I'll charge it up a little bit before we go. But appreciate it, guys, and we will see you next time.